Welcome to The Explainer. When most of us hear AI these days, our brains immediately jump to a really smart chatbot on our phones, or maybe one of those image generators making goofy pictures. But honestly, we are barely scratching the surface there. What we're actually witnessing right now is a fundamental shift in what humans can do. AI has evolved. It's transformed into this incredible tool that's actively decoding the physical languages of reality itself. It really forces us to stop and ask a pretty profound question. What if AI could translate the genuinely untranslatable? And I don't mean just flipping English to French. No, I'm talking about translating raw, physical data. Things like ancient crumbling artifacts, the invisible sounds echoing in the deep ocean, and literally the unspoken thoughts bouncing around inside a human brain.
So, in today's explainer, we're going to see how AI has become this ultimate universal decoder. We're going on a bit of a journey. We'll start way back in the ancient past, then we'll plunge into the depths of the natural world, and finally, we'll end up right inside the human mind. We're going to see exactly how machine learning is making the invisible entirely visible. Okay, let's dive into our first mystery, decoding the past, specifically the Vesuvius breakthrough. We're heading back 2,000 years to a luxury villa in Herculaneum, an ancient town that met the exact same tragic fate as Pompeii. Let's track how this all unfolded, because the timeline is just wild. Back in 79 CE, Mount Vesuvius erupts, right? It completely buries Herculaneum in superheated volcanic ash. Inside this one villa, hundreds of papyrus scrolls are carbonized. They're literally baked into charcoal. Then, jump way forward to 1752. Explorers actually find these scrolls. But there's a huge, heartbreaking problem. Because they're basically charcoal now, anytime someone tries to physically unroll them, they just shatter into dust. So for centuries, this massive library was completely unopenable. But fast forward to 2026, and thanks to a massive open source project called the Vesuvius Challenge, AI successfully reads an entire unbroken scroll without anyone ever physically opening it.
So, how on earth did they do it? Well, it all hinges on a brilliant process called virtual unwrapping. First off, they take these incredibly high-resolution 3D CT scans of the charred scroll using a literal particle accelerator. That gives them billions of 3D pixels called voxels. Then, for step 2, the algorithms track the overlapping layers of that rolled-up spiral and mathematically flatten it all out into a 2D sheet. But here was the absolute biggest hurdle. The ancient Greeks used carbon-based ink, and the papyrus itself was carbonized. X-rays literally couldn't tell the difference between the two. So, enter step 3. They trained convolutional neural networks to hunt for microscopic textures. They're looking for these tiny, almost invisible crackle patterns left on the papyrus surface where the wet ink dried thousands of years ago. The AI didn't need to see the ink's color at all. It just felt the invisible texture of history.
And the emotional payoff here is absolutely massive. Scanning pixel by pixel, the AI revealed nearly 5 continuous feet of Greek text across 20 columns. It turned out to be a completely lost treatise on Epicurean philosophy, talking all about goods, evils, beauty, and happiness. This isn't just some neat little tech trick. This is a technology that could recover thousands of lost scrolls and literally rewrite our entire understanding of classical history. All right, from the ancient ashes of Vesuvius, let's fast forward to the present day and shift our focus to decoding nature, the secret code of sperm whales. This is all about the mind-blowing work coming from the Earth Species Project and Project CTI. To understand how they're decoding animal languages, we need to talk about semantic geometry. Now, for the longest time, we just assumed we'd need some kind of Rosetta Stone to translate a new language. A dictionary that perfectly matches one word to another. But AI doesn't do that. It handles language by mapping it into this massive, high-dimensional mathematical space. Concepts that mean similar things group together, and that creates a literal mathematical shape for the language. Because human languages share similar basic concepts, their shapes look alike. So the AI simply rotates and aligns these geometric shapes to translate them between them. And here's the kicker. Researchers are now applying this exact same geometric mapping to animal vocalizations. Take sperm whales, for example. These creatures have the largest brains on Earth, and they communicate across miles of dark ocean using these rapid clicking sounds called codas. To decode them, the AI first had to solve what's called the bioacoustic cocktail party problem. It had to isolate just one single whale's voice out of the chaotic overlapping clicks of the entire pod. But once the AI isolated those voices, it reveals something stunning. These whales aren't just making random noise.
They're manipulating variables in their clicks, exactly like we do in human speech. They change the tempo, the rhythm, they use rubato, which is intentionally slowing down or speeding up, and they even use ornamentation, basically adding an extra little suffix click at the end of a phrase. By analyzing all these intricate variables, the AI mapped out exactly 156 distinct, highly structured codas. It essentially discovered a sperm whale phonetic alphabet. The AI models are so dialed in now, they can predict with 99% accuracy the exact sequence of clicks a sperm whale is going to make next. We are literally looking at the foundation of the world's very first interspecies translation system.
We've decoded the ancient world, we're actively decoding the ocean. So now, let's move to decoding the mind, translating human thought. This is the most mysterious frontier of all, and recent breakthroughs from UT Austin and Osaka University have proven that AI can actually non-invasively translate our thoughts right out of MRI brain scans.
The way they map this out is just absolutely fascinating. Researchers at Osaka University realized they could use the open-source AI image generator Stable Diffusion to recreate what a person is seeing simply by tracking blood flow in an fMRI scan. They took the brain's occipital lobe, the part that processes raw shapes, scale, and perspective, and mapped it directly to the AI's latent space, which is basically the AI's visual imagination. Then they took the temporal lobe, which understands the high-level meaning of an object, and mapped that to the AI's CLIP text encoder, its vocabulary. When they feed these decoded brain signals into the AI, the system sculpts out incredibly accurate photorealistic images of exactly what the person is looking at in the scanner.
And guys, it's not just images either, it's our inner dialogue. The UT Austin semantic decoder uses a large language model to translate actual thoughts into text. But here's the thing, it doesn't do it word for word. Because fMRI scans have about a 10-second lag, the AI has to predict the most likely sequence of thoughts that would cause that specific blood flow pattern. So if your actual thought is, I don't have my driver's license yet, the AI might output, she has not even started to learn to drive yet. It perfectly captures the semantic gist, the real meaning of your inner voice. For patients with locked-in syndrome or severe paralysis, this is a miraculous, life-changing new way to communicate. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. Are we entering some kind of dystopian mind-reading nightmare? Thankfully, no. Your mental privacy is still very much intact. First off, this system requires up to 16 hours of highly specific individual calibration for each person, all while lying perfectly still inside a loud fMRI tube. You simply cannot be scanned against your will. And even better, researchers found that if a subject just does some mental math, counts, or vividly thinks of unrelated objects, the AI decoder gets completely scrambled. It's effortlessly blocked. So your inner sanctum remains yours alone. But while our mental privacy does have this temporary shield, we really can't ignore the next frontier. The rapid advancement of these AI decoders forces us to confront a completely uncharted ethical landscape when it comes to rights and ethics. And that leaves us with a highly provocative question to wrap things up today. If AI models can truly prove that whales have structured language and distinct cultures, legal scholars are already arguing that this could lead to environmental personhood and maybe even active representation at the United Nations. And on the flip side, if we can mathematically decode human thoughts, how long is it going to be until we have to enshrine cognitive liberty into our legal frameworks? AI isn't just generating text anymore, folks. It's universally translating the world around us. The real question is, are we ready to listen to what the world has to say? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.